Hi, what's up, guys? So I was really surprised in a positive way when Season 8 or Season 7 came around and Horizon came out. I think this character is amazing. I think the abilities work so well together, and I was really impressed with the game developers for this season. But since then, I feel like Respawn is lacking good ideas for characters. And so I want to give something here. I want to give a character idea which is brand new, really revolutionary, but also kind of tricky to make happen. So listen up. I call this character Waymaker. The reason is he can make ways, paths. So it's gonna be a little bit close to the character from The Incredibles, Frozone. He can shoot ice out of his hands. In this case, the character will have something like a ice gun, an ice blaster with which he can shoot ice from. But this is the basic idea. But still, I want to start with the passive though. The passive is going to be digital goggles, and these are probably not a lot of work to develop, because the basic principle is just the character has a helmet, and the helmet has a sight, and he can just pull down the sight by pressing the right click on the mouse button when he has no weapon in his hand. And then the character pulls down the sight of the helmet, and it's an infrared sight, or like a digital sight. So everything is appearing white and black, but the enemies are appearing in red, as it is with the Bloodhound Ultimate. But no FOV increase, and a lot more screen shake when running. And it's harder to get a grasp of the environment because it's a little bit harder to see. It's not as powerful as the Bloodhound Ultimate, but still though, I think it's pretty good. So there's a little bit of a delay when the character pulls down the sight, as it is with the character vantage zoom passive, but a little bit more even than that. 0.5 seconds to put it on or put it off. So while using the passive, the character can go in every direction, look in every direction, but can't pull out a weapon, can't use nades, can't use other abilities, and can't interact with anything. And you just hold down right click to put it on, and if you stop holding right click, the character puts that side off. Alright, so now we get to a little bit more complicated stuff. The ice shooter or ice blaster, and this is pretty much the most development time which has to go in this idea. Because to make ice out of a blaster and have it interact with the environment on a good level, it's a little bit complicated, and I don't have the finalized idea, which is why I'm not pitching the idea to Respawn, and I'm just gonna put it on YouTube instead. So the ice shooter is like a device. The size is like a big hairdryer or something like that, or like a portal gun from Rick and Morty, and it has like a flat opening, a wide flat opening. So the ice blaster can shoot ice up to 3.5 meters. It does it by if you press Q and hold Q, it'll pull out the ice shooter and start shooting ice. And as soon as you let go of Q, it stops shooting ice. And there's gonna be a cooldown of 30 seconds. It doesn't matter how long you use it. You can use it up to 13 seconds at a time. But there's gonna be a 30-second cooldown. Doesn't matter how long you use it for. So it shoots ice up to 3.5 meters, but it can only create ice when it hits the ground or like walls, terrain, basically. And if you shoot it in the air and the next object is more than 3.5 meters away, it just creates ice dust and has no effect, literally. But you can start shooting with ice dust in the air. You can just hold down, and as soon as you look at terrain, which is less than 3.5 meters away, it actually creates ice, starts to create ice. And it will create ice in form of blocks. These stripes or blocks. They're as wide as the ice is. So I have to say first that depending on how close the next object is, which you are spraying with ice, the closer you are, the less wide the path of ice is going to be. So if you hold it really close to you, it's going to be not as wide. And if it's further away, at a maximum of 3.5 meters, it's going to be 2.5 meters wide. And at minimum, 1 meter wide. So the ice is gonna be a real interactive item in the game. It becomes a real interactive item in the game. It needs to be cut down in 0.4 meter blocks or stripes right after the ice is sprayed on terrain. This is how the game has to like make an interactive thing in the environment of the game. It has to be put there in some way, and it's gonna be put there in 0.4 meter wide stripes, and 0.4 meters is just my idea of what would work best theoretically. But this also has some flaws, because how can you make these stripes or barriers if if it's not a wall or not a flat ground, but if you spray a rock, how does the stripe gonna look like? This is a little bit of a problem. I mean, with a little bit of thinking, maybe you can find a solution there. I didn't, but I'm just gonna pass this idea to the Respawn developers. So anyway, first it's not as wide, but then it gets wider the further away you shoot the ice. It's like a funnel, and the further away, the wider the ice stripes are gonna be. But if you, for example, stand in front of a door frame and you are very close to the open door frame, you can actually spray outside. But if you go a couple steps back, you would make ice in front of the door. The form is like a funnel, how the ice is gonna come out of the device. No, it does make sense if you think about it. So it creates basically a layer of ice above the textures. The crosshair should be just an empty circle when you don't look at a texture while you press Q, and it should be a filled circle when you are actually looking at a texture and creating the ice. So there should be a little bit of a difference between the crosshairs, whether or not you just spray in the air or spray on terrain. So now we have to take a little bit of a deep dive into the ice, the element which you are creating with this character. And it's really, really essential that the game understands if you shoot the ice at textures or in the air. If you shoot it in the air, nothing happens. But if you shoot it at terrain, if you just hold down the trigger and then you move your crosshair into the air, there's gonna be a layer of ice in the air. So that's the big thing. It's not just on the terrain. It's basically lifting it up, and it basically defies physics at this point, but that doesn't really matter. It's for the fun. So you can really cross distances with this thing, even while not being on the ground. You can go in areas where big, huge buildings, from one building to another, you can just create an ice pass, just walk over it or slide down. Because the thing is, with the ice, it also needs some physics to it. And so when you go downhill, you should slide more. There should be the physics should be, in my opinion, very, very similar to the physics of ice in Fortnite. I think it's a good example on how it could be done, and it gives you a good idea of how you can use it to gain speed, gain momentum, but also to jump off if you need to. It's going to be a little bit hard sometimes, but it should be hard, because it's a little bit of a risk-reward strategy. And you should actually be able to also tilt the way you are making your ice path. You should be able to tilt your ice wall, and I think you should be doing it by pressing, you press Q, you move, press W, maybe Shift to run. But if you press your A or D button, the ice shooter gonna tilt in this direction a little bit, so that you also are able to actually, if you gain momentum, drive real curves with your ice shooter. So it's gonna be really like Frozone in the movie Incredibles. Really do curves. You can go downhill and then make a huge curve, and the character's momentum is going to be following the curve if you do it right. Of course, it takes training and time. There's also a skill gap involved in this, like getting used to the character. And there's going to be some crazy plays if you really master the look around mouse movements to the tilting of the eyes. There's going to be some crazy plays, and there's going to be a good skill gap. I think a really, really nice concept. Very important. So the ice is going to be divided into 0.4 meter wide stripes, and you can actually shoot these. Each one has like 40 health. So one wingman shot, it's going to be down. Or like 42 health or 45, whatever. In case the wingman gets nerfed. So one wingman shot should bring it down. And if you just spray on the ground all the time, and somebody shoots one stripe, which is just in front of you because you're spraying 3.5 meters in front of you always, and then the character will just simply stop for a short moment. The ice physics gonna stop as soon as you hit the ground. This one little barrier which the enemy shot, just this one is gonna be broken. All the other ones still remain intact. But if you spray on texture and then into the air, and it creates an ice wall in the air, like when the ice wall gets shot, everything which is behind the place of where the bullet hit the ice wall is gonna break down. So you can really like also destroy plants, destroy plays. If somebody's trying to make an ice path in the air, and you just shoot the back part of the ice path, and then everybody who's on this ice path, which is just being built, will fall down because essentially instantly the whole structure collapses. Or maybe not instantly, but one stripe at a time, but really, really fast. I'm not really sure with the 40 health. If you say this ice structure each ice structure has 45 health, each of these stripes, they're also gonna lose their life points over time, because of course the sun shines and ice is not forever there, so it's gonna melt away, and it loses 3 life points every second. So it's at maximum in this world for 15 seconds. So the whole squad has enough time to follow the character and go on the ice path together. But after 15 seconds, it's going to disappear. So it also makes like maybe a good escape if there's an enemy team chasing you and they can't use the ice path anymore. If it's teammates or enemies, it doesn't matter who shoots the ice path when it happens to be in the air or on ground. It's still going to take the same amount of damage. Doesn't matter if teammate or enemy. So there's one certain case in which you can create ice walls to actually protect your team also. And you can, for example, just look at the ground, shoot ice, look in the air, and then the other way around. So you create like a little ice cave for you and for your team, so you can actually not get hit directly from above you. There's going to be a lot of ways to protect your team. And so if you start shooting at texture, look in the air, go the other way around, and reconnect your ice to the text to the texture just next to you. The ice is gonna have like 2 points of connection, and then like if somebody shoots it, not the whole structure gonna collapse, but just the one stripe which is being shot, and the other ones remain because there's 2 attachment points to the texture. So there's a lot of variety, a lot of possibilities with this ice blaster. And you can also, like, if you imagine, you can just block door frames really quickly if somebody's chasing you or something. You can just cue a door really quick, and it holds another. They have to destroy like the ice, essentially, the little ice stripe to follow you. I already talked about the physics of the ice. It's closely connected to Fortnite. The higher your velocity, the less control you have over your movement. So like there's kinetic energy. The idea should be based on the real world, but of course it should be more aligned with the Fortnite physics. Of course, if your velocity is lower, it's easier to change direction or to jump off than when it's higher. You can also like run against your kinetic energy when you are sliding down. You can run against it and then you're gonna slow down. You can also try to jump off in case you are feeling like leaving the ice path. So now, to make the character complete and really give him a sense of every ability is working together just fine, just as Horizon does, the ultimate ability is going to be a smoke puck. I call it because it looks like a hockey puck, but actually smoke comes out, like a big hockey puck, but actually smoke comes out. So it would be the second character besides Bangalore who can create smoke. The smoke puck should be in the size of a automatic vacuum cleaner robot. You know these, which are driving around the house and cleaning. And it has one opening on the top side where smoke can come out from. The smoke is very similar to Bangalore's, but the difference is going to be that it's going to take space up quicker. The radius of smoke is going to be appearing quicker, and it's going to last for 18 seconds. So you shoot the smoke puck, or you can carry it in your hand. It's gonna be like shooting smoke for up to 20 seconds. The smoke which came out in the beginning is of course disappearing sooner than the smoke which comes out at the very end. Like 18 seconds depending on when the smoke came out of the puck. So the sphere of smoke which is created is gonna be smaller than the smoke from Bangalore. About 2 legend length stacked on top of each other in the height, and 2 legend length sideways for the width. So it's gonna be like a cylindric shape, really round. Now we get into how to use it. So you're gonna press your ultimate ability key, and as long as you hold down the key, you're gonna have this smoke puck in your hand, creating a smoke bubble right where your character is at. So it's gonna stay in your hand, and you can combine that with the Q. So the legend is gonna always carry the ice blaster in the left hand and the smoke puck in the right hand. And you can actually use both simultaneously to create ice path and then instantly spray them with smoke, so it's not so easy to see them and to destroy them. And it's also easier for your teammates to follow you up if you're leading, so they're not as vulnerable if they are on this ice path. When you, for example, shoot it in mid-air, it can really be helpful, so you're not as big of a target. So, but as soon as you let it go, let your ultimate key go, and you can do this really right at the beginning, this hockey puck accelerates and is gonna like always drive straight, and it's gonna really behave like a hockey puck on ice. So if it hits a wall, it goes in the same angle away from the wall, and it doesn't lose momentum. The speed, which is about double of the speed of sprinting legend. This is how fast it will slide over the ground. If there's stairs, for example, the hockey puck can actually go up everything which is 45 degrees or less. If it's more than 45 degrees, I think the hockey puck should count that as a wall and just smash against it and go the other direction. It should have about 300 health. When it's moving so fast, you can see the hockey puck itself from the front, because the smoke is like when you have like these old trains where the smoke comes out at the front. The smoke is not clouding the front of the train, but it's above and behind, and that's very similar on how the hockey puck smoke will behave. If you just drop it, it just goes straight in the direction in which you looked when you dropped it. And of course you can move normally, you can sprint, you can look in every direction, and of course you can use your Q while doing that, but not your passive, of course. The smoke puck is going to be active for 15 seconds, not 20 seconds. I said 20 seconds before, that's not accurate. It's going to stay alive for 15 seconds and then it destroys itself. Doesn't lose momentum or anything. It doesn't change the direction when it's getting shot at. Okay, that's the idea for the character. I think it has huge potential. It would be so much fun, but creating the ice and creating the ice blaster will be a really, really difficult challenge for the developers. So I don't know if it comes out, but if it would be a real game changer, not just for Apex, but for the gaming world in general, because nothing like this ever existed. So there lies some real potential here, real opportunity to make the game feel very fresh again. All right, peace.